Warning, this video is intended for adult collectors. It contains plastic collectibles, questionable opinions, and the guy that won't leave Scott McNeil alone. You have been warned. This is Random Review.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the TJOmega channel. Welcome back to the review stage. Now, I told you yesterday that I was going to do two reviews. One that was going to be useful because it would be a new toy, and one that was just for me because, frankly, this is going to be incomplete coverage no matter what I do, and it's a remold of a toy I've already reviewed. Meaning this is not very helpful in the least. But you know what? I want to talk about a toy for me. I'm on vacation. As you're watching this, it's probably the last day of my vacation. I think I deserve to do something I just want to do for the sake of enjoying it. So, let me tell you about one of my absolute favorite figures of the last few years. And yeah, to my surprise, it's an Orion Pax. So, this is the Orion Pax from the Fractured Friendship 2-pack. It's the one that's packed in with one of the minor Megatrons, hence why we're not reviewing it. It's another Siege Megatron. Do you really need someone else to tell you about it? But this is a heavy retool of Gamer Edition Optimus Prime, done up to make Orion Pax here look like he did in the Chaos Theory comic books, which is a little bit close to like the Stormbringer Optimus Prime's design. So, you know, a really cool looking Optimus Prime render. So, it's doing something that I really, really like when an Optimus Prime toy does it, and that is creating the illusion of some kind of trailer, even though it does not actually have one. It's a big, heavy box of a truck with a very notable rear section that's not just, you know, an extension for the wheels to hang on to. I love the look of this vehicle mode. It is heavy, it is powerful, it is, you know, doing the tricks that I like. So, typical Optimus Prime red in the front, typical Optimus Prime blue in the back, with your gray accents here and there. They have done no translucent plastic. You get bright baby blue for the windshields and the headlights. I think I could have done with a little bit of different color in the headlights, but, you know, then again, I can't remember the color in the comic book offhand. Maybe this is accurate, I have no idea. But no, like, you have some nice detailing going on here. I like the heavy layered look to what would be the grille if it was actually done up in gray, and, you know, a character like this needed an air intake in the front of his vehicle mode. I like the angles of the cockpit section. I love these heavy exhausts sticking out the top. So this is, again, a design that's a little bit more reminiscent of, you know, things like War for Cybertron, Fall of Cybertron style Optimus Primes. I don't mind that in the least. You know, I like that it conveys it while it's also looking just a lot heavier duty. You do have these sections on the side that represent the gas cans from the original vehicle mode, but obviously these are going to be weaponized once we get to robot mode. And then in the back, yeah, everything is kind of closed off. You got, well, okay. I will admit, that's the flaw of the toy, is that you start to see a lot of gaps here. So gaps through here, you know, in the back section here. But frankly, this is a heavy remold from a toy that didn't have to worry about any of that. The fact that it's still a pretty solid box here is kind of impressive. Not to mention, it's Cybertronian. I can forgive a little bit of junk just because it makes him look a little bit more layered and a little bit more technological. That's the excuse I'm using. Leave me alone. I still enjoy this truck mode a lot. Now, the vehicle does have storage for the weapon, which tabs into these two slots here. We'll go ahead and remove that so you can get a cleaner look. Yeah, it's just a nice Optimus Prime vehicle mode all around. It's not too many that will attempt the faux trailer, the Warrior class RID figure. Actually, RID 2015 Optimus Primes tended to try that a lot. Might be why I, like, unironically like those figures quite a bit. But no, it's a beautiful vehicle mode. It's heavy, it's powerful, it's everything I could want out of an Optimus Prime, but as Orion Pax. It's Orion Pax who lifts more than Optimus ever lifted. Alright, we got to get this guy into robot mode. And I got to show you the transformation because I like the transformation on this guy too. So we're going to go ahead and remove those side pieces. And then we go into the crazy legs. So I'm going to go ahead and untab these sections from the side, and we'll get those out of the way. These will untab from the top. All right, and then we work on the rear. So go ahead and open those up. On the underside, I'm going to flip these back panels and then unpop these pegs from the sides. That will free the arms from the leg sections. With that out of the way, we can lift the legs. We will need that added bit of clearance. So these have some extra layers of transformation from the original Gamer Edition, obviously, and it actually corrects a lot of problems, which you'll see in the robot mode. But for now, I'm going to fold the foot out from the top and then fold this rear section all the way over to complete the foot. Now, we do the same thing on the other side, and then same exact thing. Double hinge that piece over. That becomes the bottom of the foot. Okay, with the feet in the right spots, we're going to go back to the rear. Let's go ahead and fold the wheels to the back of the legs. And close that up. Fold the exhaust upwards, so it points directly up. Then go ahead and fold those down. And those are your finished legs. And it's lovely how this works. A lot of inside-out transforming, like opening up and refolding into itself. I like that kind of like weirdly recursive transformation. It's a very neat process. All right, let's get the torso transformed. Now, the torso is going to transform very similar to the Gamer Edition version. So, not a whole lot of surprises, but it's actually a pretty cool transformation. So, go ahead and split this whole section like so. This rear section the top section is going to fold that way. So, that's going to close up like so. We're going to rotate the whole thing around, so this is in the right orientation when we do this. And then this whole section hinges like so to get Prime, or Orion, into his proper spot. Once you got that there, go ahead and give this whole back piece a rotation. That way you can fold it up like that. And then close the whole thing together. The whole section is going to just form his entire back. And that lets you finish off the transformation just by lowering his arms. Now, for the full effect, we got to put these on his forearms now. This is part of the robot mode. We can't skip this. Boom. There we go. That is your Orion Pax in robot mode. Like I said, I really like this transformation. It's the right level of complicated to really kind of like intrigue me and be fun to actually transform. But it's also got some really clever elements to it. I love how the legs just basically invert themselves and reconnect into opposite boxes. I mean, I like how the entire torso rotates in order to get the front end of the vehicle out of the way, which also coincidentally puts the tires in the correct spot for the character model. It's all around just a fantastic transformation. Absolutely loved messing around with this toy. And then, yeah, I will admit, he's not clean. But given the story he comes from, I don't care. Like, it seems appropriate that, like, he's got a bunch of junk left over. And, I mean, granted, he wears it well. I mean, Optimus Primes of the backpack are not a huge deal at this point anymore. You know, maybe at a higher budget, if this toy was done as a leader, you'd see that collapse a little bit further, like hinge or even double hinge down into a tighter backpack. But I don't think it's really necessary here. Like, he just does such a good job of just being a super solid Orion. All right. If we look at the head sculpt, this is from an era where Orion Pax was basically just Optimus Prime. He just didn't have the name or the matrix yet. So, yeah, it's a very Optimus Prime head, mouth plate, and all. I like the inclusion of the silver horns on the sides. That's actually kind of rare to not just have, like, the blue ones sticking up. It makes them a little bit more distinguished, or at least distinguishable. That's the word I'm looking for. Yeah, but I like the head sculpt quite a bit. You know, I like the eyes. I like the perfect shade of bright blue for them. And yeah, just overall, love the detail work we got going on here. So you can see the sculpt work on the underside now. It looks like there's lots of little layers that have come together in order to form the torso. And I see those ribs that kind of like invoke some of Prime's like eventual details, like where his headlights might store away in some of his robot modes. You do have the silver that would be like part of Prime's aesthetic in his original toys and all that. I like the shoulders as well, because he's got the exhaust pipes here, but he's got the traditional ones toward the side. So it makes him look like he's doing a lot of heavier work, which is interesting because most Orions are either cops or paper pushers. So take it for what you will. On the forearms now, we do have those side pieces that are now twin forearm guns. Yes, it's very Armada Prime. That's not a bad thing. I kind of like those guns. And the pelvis has the traditional yellow, but it does have a much heavier detailing to it. It's kind of honeycomb pattern, which is a little bit odd, but it exists. I'm not complaining. The thighs are taken straight from the Gamer Edition with those weird sections sticking off of them. They look like old cell phones. And then, yeah, those legs that I keep talking about also nicely detailed. Silver running down the sides. I like how the smokestacks are still there. Breaks up the blue a little bit. It's just a nice looking Prime. Now, the thing that I cannot convey through a video is tactile sensation. He feels big. He feels solid. And here's the thing. With the Gamer Edition version, he feels a little bit more budgeted, so the legs feel a little bit more hollow. So he doesn't really have like the same solid feel that this one does. There's so many parts going into the legs. They feel quite a bit heavier. And even structurally, that helps because it lowers the center of gravity, makes him more posable, makes him balance better. So you have fixed that problem with him. Also, the way that they've redesigned this figure does fix some of the proportional issues. He's not as wide. Now, obviously, War for Cybertron Prime is supposed to be a wide boy, but I find this more aesthetically pleasing. It's boxy, it's big, wide-shouldered without being bulbous in any way. And because we have those little foot extensions, thanks to the new faux trailer transformation, he's actually just a little bit taller, which is exactly what the Gamer Edition needed. He does feel kind of squat and chunky for an Optimus. So this fixes a lot of the issues I had with the original toy. Granted, a lot of those issues come from just the nature of the design, and it is still accurate to how he looked in the game. I am talking about how the toy feels, and the feeling on this toy is so much better than the Gamer Edition. Now, if we get into function, the head does have a ball joint, so it has up and down, full left and right as well. We have universal shoulder joints. It's the offset kind, but it's not offset enough. It still have like proper universal motion. It feels natural. You have full 360 degrees on the biceps. You do have 90-degree elbow articulation. You have a wrist swivel. You have a waist swivel. You have full universal hips, thigh rotations 360, 90-degree knee bend, and then full left and right ankle tilt, as well as a little bit of forward and back. Very, very posable, heavy boy. Now, we need to talk about the weaponry on him. So, this is being an Orion PAX, weaponry is still kind of a second thing. It's a lower priority on this particular type of Prime. So, he just has the same cannon that the original Gamer Edition Optimus Prime had, with the advent of this new chunk in the back. So, here's the weird thing about this toy, and I really do kind of wish they molded this out. He still has the forearm thing from the Gamer Edition, despite all of the remolding that went into this toy. However, this piece is permanently attached to the rear section of the gun. I can't get this off or out in order to actually use that part of the gimmick. So now it's just a very weird version of Prime's traditional rifle that does feel a little bit awkward. So that might be the one knock I have on this toy. I really wish, like, for all the remolding they did, that removable forearm was gone and that this gun was replaced by something that looked a little bit more natural. But that is a minor complaint for what is one of my absolute favorite molds of the last few years, and specifically one of my favorite primes. Oh, and if you're wondering, yes, he does have a matrix chamber with a removable matrix of leadership. Basically just taken from the Gamer Edition. So never mind the part where he's supposed to be Orion Pax. We're not. That's a secret. We're not spilling this just yet. But no, fantastic figure. Like, I enjoy this enough that I really don't mind having yet another version of the Siege Megatron mold cluttering up the place. Like, it's just a brilliant toy. It feels good. It plays good. It fixes a lot of the issues the Gamer Edition had. It's just really, really, really well done. So, that is my gushing out of the way. If you're asking me if I'm going to review the Megatron so you know how the entire 2-pack is, once again, you should know by now how that toy is. It's not very different, but this one's worth talking about. So this was for me. I just wanted to talk about the toy I really, really liked. And that is going to do it for me tonight. So thank you very much for watching. I will see you next time.
Hello everyone, I am Astral Agent Magnetar, a Tokusatsu VTuber, and I am streaming 4 times a week over on Twitch, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday afternoons, and a special late night one on late Friday/early Saturday. So come watch, come hang out, and let's make an impact together.